Hello there, Qckslvrslash here again. Today I'm bringing you the Tier 2 Japanese battleship, the Mikasa. Why am I showing you this? Well, right now there's a mission going on, at least for the North American servers, where if you complete a series of missions that build up to completing a total number of 150 kills, you get this ship as a reward. So what are you getting? Well, you're getting what is now the last pre-dreadnought ship in the world that's still in any kind of condition. It's a museum in Yokosuka. But the ship itself has two turrets, each twin barrel 305mm, but they're not the real reason you want this ship. With an 11.2 kilometer detection range, they only have a 9.5 kilometer range, and their aim is hideous. You'll see through this, I fire, one round will go 200 meters long, the other 200 meters short. They scatter. She's got a slow top speed of 18 knots, pretty quick in the turns, and she holds her speed through the turns, which is nice, especially with that low speed. But what really makes this ship good is its secondary. It has 14 152mm, 7 aside, and another 18 76mm guns scattered about the ship. With advanced fire training and the appropriate flags, you can push their range up to 3.8 kilometers, which means if you get any ship within 3.8 kilometers of you, they are going to feel the hurt.
The ship is on fire!
So right here, you'll see the big disadvantage. I've already had to sail 2 kilometers closer to a Dresden, which is just a bullet hose. I fire what I felt was a pretty good shot, but it misses, and it just happens a lot with this ship. It's a lot of prey to RNG that your rounds will connect. And with only that one turret fore and aft, you don't have the opportunity to return the kind of fire that a Tier 2 cruiser can put out, and you see I'm just getting pummeled. And luckily for me, they've only lit one fire so far, so I'm able to let that burn. But I've played games in this where a couple volleys from enemy ships, and suddenly I have 4 fires, put them out. 2 volleys later, it seems that I have that many fires going again. And a skilled captain, or at least one who knows well enough to stay outside of your secondary range, will be able to just pound in to that deep hit point pool this ship has. And you can see I'm already below half my health, and I've used one of my heals. And really I haven't been able to return fire to that Dresden. So I'm trying to get out, open, put some space between me and him, because what you really need to do in this ship is to come around a corner point blank on someone who's not really expecting you, and just lay the hurt into them. So right now I'm working on this Novik. He's going slow in reverse, which is about the easiest shot you'll get in this ship for anything at range. You see I managed to put 2,500 damage into him and light a fire. And one other thing you'll notice is I did have a division mate, my normal friend Flying Goomba. Unfortunately he suffered a disconnect, so he's going to be sitting in his Umikaze up in B10 for this whole game. He didn't manage to reload before the game was over. So even as I drive here, that Dresden is still harassing me, trying to put rounds in. Luckily he's not doing much. There's a destroyer chasing me down, but I've got 3 friendly ships just north of me that will make short work of him. And I'm just trying to use these islands to hopefully come out inside of 3 kilometers from the enemy to really lay a hit into them. I slowed up there for a second. I was hoping I could get shots at the Dresden over the island, but as you saw from my second set of shells, these things don't travel very high and went straight into land. So, kick it back to full speed ahead, and my plan is to close this Mikasa here. We're pretty much the same ship, but unlike a lot of the ones I've run into, doesn't seem many people have a high skilled captain. This is a premium ship, so I use my Amagi's captain in this, who has 13 skill points. I run the flags. Unlike him. You'll see he's going to lose it in chat for a bit here. A detonation, I could not have wished for a luckier shot. I was just happy that both sets of shells hit from each volley, let alone that I managed to kill him with a lucky detonation. And that brings me into something that I should point out. This ship only has one slot for modules. You can get primary armament, secondary armament, or the magazine, and I run the magazine protection because I don't have enough of the flags from detonations to run on every one of my ships. So on a lot of them, I just run that modification. It reduces the chance enough that I don't tend to see what just happened to that enemy Mikasa. But now you're about to see where this ship really shines. I've got 3 enemy cruisers, all at close range, and I'm just going to make them hit. So first up is a Dresden who came around the corner on full health, put 2 big shells into him, and then just watches those ribbons slowly tick up, and I put the damage onto that Dresden. And at this point, I've targeted him. All I'm going to do now is let my secondaries work him. I'm going to try to use my primaries to finish off one of these targets. And that's the nice thing about this ship, is when you do get in close like this, particularly if you have ships on both sides, those secondaries can just rack the damage up without you really having to do much. I've watched a couple destroyers get a little greedy and try to close me, not realizing that at 3.8 kilometers the fireworks begin. So I got one close quarter expert there. I'm hoping to aim, finish off this other guy, but he's going to get behind the island. I can't provide sufficient lead, so I switch targets. And I'm maneuvering my ship to try to close this other cruiser to within the secondary range.
Problem solved, sir.
I'm about to have my final heal come up. And I'm hoping this really demonstrates just the kind of level of punishment this ship can take, but also dish out. In many cases, I feel its secondary guns, particularly in close range, are equal to or better than any of equal tier cruisers. So I put a couple main battery volleys in, I get the kill, and that's going to pretty much spell the end of the game for me. That Dresden that I left on low health is going to get killed by friendlies, and then it's going to be a chase of that other Dresden who's been holding off the entire game, way over in the west and just shelling everything. And unfortunately, with an 18 knot top speed, I just don't have the speed to close him. If it came down to me versus him, he could keep me within his gun firing range and permanently stay away from me unless I manage to chase him into the border for an entire game if need be. So for the last little bit, I'm just going to turn the UI off and just kind of show off the beauty of this ship. Really, the whole is it worth it comes down to 2 things. One, personally, I'm a ship collector. I like to have every ship that's in the game. So for me, I saw this mission come out. It was a chance for me to get something that hasn't been available in the shop in North America. And I can understand why. It's not a very strong ship. It's gimmicky in that its secondaries at close range are much better than its primaries. And they can't really buff it, because if they buff it too much, then it's going to be too powerful at tier 2. And then you've got, you know, Seal Clubber's Paradise, pay to win. But the other thing this ship is very good for is getting those 10 daily flags for close quarters expert. And to me, that is worth it. I run this ship pretty much once per day, and I've got over 400 of those flags. So any ship I want to boost the secondaries on, I have an endless pool of flags for. And if I only play 10 games a day and run this one pretty much once, I'm guaranteed to replenish those. But this has been a pretty standard example of how a Mikasa plays. You drive out early to try to close to get into the action, you take a beating. You end up running away, backing off, put some islands between you. Some ships will drive around a corner too close. You can make very quick work of them if they're alone. And then that's normally the end of your game because you just don't have the speed to catch up. So here we are post-game. 3 kills, 55,000 damage, 6 fires, 13 secondaries. Got close quarters, dreadnought, devastating strike, and high caliber. And that's pretty much the standard game for me in this. Then looking at the team score, top of the team, that's a little rarer. I tend to find Umikazes dominate tier 2. If you're looking to go seal clubbing, the Mikasa is not your ship. Get in an Umikaze and just go torp everything from stealth. Now here's where the Mikasa shows its true colors. Yes, I did 54,000 damage. Most of that was with the primaries, but almost the entirety of the damage I did with the primaries was that near 31,000 and odd change of damage in a detonation to the Mikasa. You remove that, I got almost the same amount of damage out of my secondaries. But the one place that premium ships will always be worth it, particularly if you have a premium account, is in your credits. I walked away with nearly 120,000 credits and 2,700 experience for the captain of my high tier Japanese BB captain. So for me, that's a very useful thing to have. And it's a second reason that I love this ship and I continue to run it almost every day, is to just train that captain, get some extra credits, and get those flags. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some insight onto the Mikasa and whether or not it's a ship that you want to grind those 150 kills for. For me, once again, it was worth it. Is it worth it to you if this is a game you play for fun and you don't really care about collecting every ship in the game? Probably not. But it can have its moments. It can make you laugh hysterically when too many low health cruisers try to gang up on you and you just melt through them. Anyways, thank you very much. I'll have another video for you tomorrow.